The Newport Naval Yard of Newport, Rhode Island was used for naval shipbuilding. It was created in 1861 as a replacement shipyard that moved from Annapolis, Maryland, because of the Civil War to protect naval ships from Confederate forces within the South. The site was then moved back to Annapolis, Maryland after the Civil War in 1865. The Naval Operating Base was created in the same location in 1941 through 1946 and lasted until after the end of the Vietnam War. Today, the Naval War Academy and the Naval Underwater Systems Center still remain at the site within the Naval Station Newport in Newport and Middleton, Rhode Island. The Navy also currently uses the area to hold and maintain naval ships not actively used within the military. This is just one of the many naval shipbuilding areas in which asbestos was used in large quantities. Many thousands of military personnel have been exposed to asbestos due to naval shipbuilding and being aboard ships in which asbestos was used. Newport, Rhode Island is an area in which high amounts of asbestos were used in many industries. If you have ever worked in shipbuilding or other industrial jobs in Newport, Rhode Island, you may be at risk for developing mesothelioma. Mesothelioma is a rare and deadly form of cancer caused from exposure to asbestos. Asbestos use within the military aboard naval ships peaked during World War I and II and the post-Cold War era. There are now thousands of Navy personnel that have already died, and many continue to be diagnosed with mesothelioma and other asbestos-related diseases. Those stationed on ships in which asbestos was used are just as likely to come down with the disease as those that worked with contaminated materials for building, as it is easily inhaled in dust particles that float freely through the air. Almost as many deaths have been caused by military exposure to asbestos as deaths related to direct fighting within world wars. Sources show that the United States military knew about possible dangers of asbestos to military personnel as early as 1922. In fact, in the early 1940s, they listed working with and being exposed to asbestos as a hazardous working condition, but continued to use it in large amounts for quite some time. Even after they began looking for alternatives to asbestos, they were very slow in taking measures to clean up affected areas and were more concerned in saving costs than replacing the parts of the ships that still contained asbestos. Exposure from asbestos at this site, just as in many others, came from its use as wall insulation, pipe covering, pumps, gaskets, cement mix, turbines, and boilers. Often it was used in ship piping that ran through the sleeping quarters within the naval ships, so many Navy personnel were breathing in large amounts of asbestos in their sleep. The population in Newport peaked at the Naval Operating Base in 1944 with 146,000 working naval personnel, all of which are at risk for mesothelioma and other cancers and diseases related to the inhalation of asbestos. If you or anyone you know has worked at the Naval Base in Newport, Rhode Island, it is strongly suggested that you seek prompt medical advice as you are at risk for asbestos-related diseases. Thank you for watching. This video was produced by Asbestos.Net, a leading resource on all aspects of asbestos and mesothelioma. Our priority is to inform victims about the devastating effects of asbestos exposure, mesothelioma, asbestos cancer, asbestosis, and other asbestos-related diseases, and to advise them with a wealth of information. Individuals whose lives have been touched by mesothelioma have numerous questions and concerns. Their caregivers and family members also need accurate, reliable information. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos cancer and need more information, we invite you to visit and explore the thousands of pages of oncologist-reviewed material on Asbestos.Net, to call our convenient toll-free number shown below and speak with a mesothelioma specialist, or to use the simple contact form found at Asbestos.Net to request a free copy of our informative books, custom inserts, and DVD. Asbestos.Net, information and help for patients and families.